Welcome back, my friends. A couple of external events kept me away from the streaming and recording this last week, but anyway, we tried to reach a positive conclusion in the end. Here we are, back now with another lesson. The open center in chess. And open center, what does that mean? First thing first, we need to clarify the concept, which is no pawns existing on e4, d4, e5 and d5. So there's no pawn. What does that mean? That means that the piece's activity again and again and again matters the most. King safety, of course, and also an incredibly important idea, the bishops. Okay, the pair of bishops, if you can preserve in open center, with those open diagonals, if you can preserve your bishop pair and trading your opponent's bishop, maybe with one of your knights, that will be very beneficial for you. Now in this position, white moved queen to c. White played queen to c2. Okay, making a battery with the bishop. Probably they want to move away from the d file because they want to bring over the other rook to do something on the d file. You could assume that. Now, we understand this. But also we understand that we might have an opportunity now. We've been presented with an opportunity to get rid of one of our opponent's bishops. Now, if you look at this guy on c6, the black knight plays now on b4. What does that mean? You're attacking the queen and the bishop with tempo. We call it in chess. And queen has to move. There is no choice about that one. So queen moves somewhere safe. It could have been d1. It could have been, now it is e2 in this position. And now we do trade off. We exchange the bishop on d3. They have to take back. And simply the position here, positionally, is better. It's absolutely better. The d file is yours. You've got another rook to play. Very many good ideas here. And you are doing slightly better than white in this position here, especially after rook ad. You claim the d file. They need to move that queen to safety. Okay, so that gives you initiative with the black pieces. That's just great. Doesn't mean that it's guaranteed you're gonna win, but if you manage to understand the mechanics here, you're gonna put yourself in a better position. So let's move to the next scenario, guys. Bishop played on c4. Again, there is no pawns in the center, so we try to create a better position for ourselves. And knight to g4, knight f6 to g4. What does that mean? Well, you're attacking a bishop. You want to hit a bishop, the bishop on e3, and potentially, if they don't move, if they don't play the bishop, you're gonna trade off that bishop, and they're gonna be having an isolated pawn on e3. So that will be good for black and not very good for your opponent. And you're attacking quite an active bishop, and those guys have to disappear, especially in open files. Now, if they really persist, bishop to d4, you got a very good option here. Queen d8 to d6. What does that mean? Probably you've noticed already, guys. It attacks the knight. First thing first, we could say that, but it's a bit more than this. It's a bit more than this. Following the last move white played here, you probably noticed that the knight on g4 attacks h2 once, okay? And also now you notice that the queen on d6 exerts a second attacking power on the h2. And if the white knight were to disappear, I don't know what that means. E2, d5, that would be a disaster for white because queen takes h2, and that is just simply checkmate. Having understood that, g3, if they try to play this, already comes with some weaknesses around the white king, namely the white squares are very weak now. Now you simply get that rook. Notice the importance of getting the rook in action also. Look at these two rooks. Place your rooks on the open or semi-open files because it's going to be tremendously beneficial for the future development of the game. So rook 8, d8, double attack on the bishop. They try to play c3, and now you're going to play a sneaky little move here. Queen to h6, which means very many things. White is in deep, deep trouble. First thing first, there is the threat of queen to h2. And if they try to stop it, I don't know, pushing the pawn to steps or something, there's more bad news for them because as soon as you're pushing the c5, this guy's a little bit pinned. And look at the rook and look at the white queen. So this is just getting really, really problematic for your opponent. The next scenario, my friends. Let's continue here. What do we do? We've got an isolated pawn. I don't like having isolated pawns. So when this thing happens, try to just exchange that guy because it's going to be a weakness. They're going to be constantly attacking and pressurizing that isolated pawn. So don't keep them, exchange them so you can have the full benefit of your bishops. So marching to d5 takes. And now you take back with the knight, and not just you took back, but black already has to think about, oops, there is a rook on the d and my queen is on the d. Where do I go? Where do I go? Really, what do I do? So it's problematic. And if they take, you're going to take again. But there is again the same issue. Rook is on the same file with the queen. And look at this. I mean, you can always play knight f7 check and then discover attack on the black queen. So they just simply need to think very carefully as of what to do next. And if they go on c7 again, the queen is on the same file with the rook. Doesn't mean you're suddenly going to win, but it's more problematic for your opponent than for yourselves here. Okay, queen c7. And now remember the old principle, add pressure on the pin piece. Okay, so now knight on c6 being further attacked by the knight on d4, bishop attacks, rook attacks, more and more and more and more pressure. And it's very good here for white. And it just looks awesome. Absolutely great. Probably this one will be happening at some point, but anyway, it just looks magnificent. Very nice, very beautiful for white here. The next idea here, guys. What do you think we need to do? I notice my opponent has the bishop pair. And I'm going to tell you something. I am a little bit biased myself. I love the bishops a little bit more than the knights, especially in open positions. Now, that bishop is a little bit strong here. There is a battery. I'm not going to get checkmated right now, but I would rather not have the bishop on d3. So I'd be very happy to trade off that guy. It has to be. If they play something like rook takes on d3, that's very bad for them because bishop f5 pins the rook to the queen. They move the queen. I take the rook. I'm perfectly happy. And if they take with the queen, again, you could always think about rook a d8. And again, looks very good. You're claiming the d file. There is all sorts of ideas you may be trying here. But that one is absolutely very workable. Next one here, guys. Oopsie, we've got a isolated pawn here on d4. And my opponent, I noticed they haven't castled the king. The king is in the center. Can I take advantage? Including the fact I have a rook on the d file where the black queen is. And also I have a guy which better just disappears, or, I don't want to have an isolated pawn. So let me just push this guy nicely. It was attacked twice anyway. So why not just making a little bit of discomfort here? I'm attacking the knight, by the way, with tempo. So they got to do something. And if they were to take, I'm taking back with a knight here. And if you say, yeah, but they might take on b2, that's just the end of it, because a knight to c7 checks the king and attacks the black queen discovered attack here. I mean, it's just a disaster. Okay, so we may just say that white is definitely better here. Strong attack, and black is in trouble. Let's have a look at the next scenario here, guys. With incredibly rare exception, both white and black shouldn't be pushing the f-pawn, okay? And, okay, the black king had moved because they were very concerned about that diagonal, but better would have been, in the evolution of the game, if black hadn't played f7 to f6, but he did, okay? And now we can just simply try to open up the center, okay, with a move like d3 to d4. We're challenging. They pushing, we're going to take. They take, we're going to take. And in principle, you you get a position. So they take here. You're going to take back. You have rook coming here. You've got a lot of very good things that you can consider. Also, the bishop attacks already here. They defend twice, but, it's very good to getting the pieces active, nicely, strong bishop, powerful rooks, and the position is very, very good to being played by white in this position. Definitely you are doing better, my friends. Okay, so that was the open center. And perhaps, okay, one more exercise here. One more exercise. Probably that will be the last one. Okay. Okay, we got a bishop and we got another bishop. I could take, but probably I could just attack something. I'd like to keep my bishop pair. So rather than taking on g3, which I don't think loses for black, but bishop to c5 actually does do attack. Okay, so knight now has to go. I don't know. They go to f3. Oh, okay. They moved it too quickly. Okay, I would have liked to just stay a bit longer and looking at that position. But anyway, knight to c5 being played by black. Now, what do they want to do? Oh, well, it looks like they want to take my bishop on d3, which is very active, very powerful. I don't want to give them the bishop. What do I do with this bishop? I need to find a good square. Well, let's try bishop to c2. Seems to be the correct one. My bishop is safe, active, attacking, a beautiful diagonal here. I like it. I think it's good. And the position is a little bit better for white here. You avoid to exchange the bishop, and it's great. It's absolutely great here. I don't see any problem. Let's see, what else can we exploit? Probably some rooks getting themselves over to the 7th rank, and I think it looks absolutely fine in principle. Long-term, medium, long-term, white is doing better here. So again, thanks for watching, guys. Join my live streams, and we could do some puzzles together, analyze some of your previous games. And thanks for visiting anyway. Take care of yourselves, and hopefully I'll see you soon, my friends.